Hello everyone, yes dear students, we are in the third session of biology. In the first session we studied about the cell, and in the second session we studied about the living organism classification according to RH White curve. Today we are in the third session and we are about to study the plant kingdom. We are going to learn the 5 groups, major groups of 5 plant kingdom, and then I'm going to give a few examples of those 5 major groups, and then how they reproduce and only a few uses of those species. Okay, so if we look around, we can see number of plants. We have a number of species, and it is growing on the water and on the land, on other trees. So what actually these are different type of species, but yes, we can understand that. But how to differentiate all these plants? Some of them are bearing flowers, some of them are not bearing flowers. Why the difference between these two? In which group we are studying the flowering plants and non-flowering plants? To understand that, first we will start with by writing the 5 major groups of plant kingdom. The first one is Algae or Thallophyta. The second one is Bryophyta. And the third one is Pterophyta. Fourth one is Gymnosperm. And the last one is Angiosperms. So we have 5 major groups. The first thing, I'd like to start with the Thallophyta or algae. The algae, these are the very important plant in plant kingdom. Why so? Because I'll tell you why when I start telling the uses of algae. There I'll tell you the algae consists of unicellular organism, unicellular species to multicellular species. Now, you might have seen a slimy layer on the rock surfaces and near to the water surface. Near to the water or near to the river or near to the oceans, you might have seen on the rock surfaces, you might have seen a slimy green color layer. Those are nothing but algae. These algae, they are, as I told you, unicellular to multicellular organisms are there in the algae. The unicellular organism, the example for unicellular organism is Chlamydomonas. Yes, the Chlamydomonas, it bears a pair of flagella and it reproduces by means of sexual and asexual reproduction. And if we talking about the volvox, yes, the volvox, it is in the form of, or it is present in the water body, and it is available in the group or in the colonial form. Yes, in the algae, the colony species are also in one colony. A number of algae species are present. They both, the number of species or number of volvox, they live together. That's why we are going to call that as colonial algae. And in the algae, we find filamentous form species. Those filamentous form species are nothing but Spirogyra, green in color, and the Spirogyra is highly nutritive, highly number of vitamins are present inside the Spirogyra. Because of that nature of Spirogyra, it is used commercially. And then next is, you might have seen in the oceans, a large plant bodies are present underwater, and those are nothing but kelps. So those like the right from the unicellular to multicellular species are present in the algae. As I told you, we will have a small description of reproduction also. The reproduction, if we are talking about the reproduction of algae, the algae reproduces by means of asexual, vegetative and sexual mode of reproduction. Only to increase its population, it has adapted itself in all these three reproduction. So coming to the uses, I am not going in detail because the same concept you are going to study in the class level. In the physical class, I will explain all the things, all the classification, all the classes of algae and the diagrams, everything I am going to tell you. But only for the introduction I have taken this plant kingdom. And then next is, as I told you, I will tell a small description of uses of algae. Can you imagine 50% of carbon dioxide which is present in the atmosphere absorbed by the algae? So is that interesting? Is that so? No. So 50% of the algae, 50% of the carbon dioxide absorbed by algae. So that is a very important and interesting use of algae. And using this algae species, ice creams and jellies, these kind of foods manufactured. And the next is this algae species, for example agar agar. So this species used in the in vitro condition or laboratory condition. And algae, one of the algae species, like as I told you, Spirogyra. So because of the presence of vitamins inside the Spirogyra, it has been used in the nutritive tablet supplied to the spaceships or to the those who are going to or those who are traveling to space. It has been provided to those persons. And the next is, if we are going one by one, as I told you, a small introduction about the algae, the few species, examples and the mode of reproduction and uses. After that algae, we are going to study about the Bryophyta. The Bryophyta, it is also known as amphibians of plant kingdom. Why so? The amphibians of plant, amphibian, it means what? If we take one example of animals, frog is the example for amphibian because it lives both in water and soil or land. The Bryophyta, they grow on soil surfaces or on the rock surface, but it uses moist surface or water surface or water as a media for the reproduction. Because of this nature, the Bryophyta is known as amphibians of plant kingdom. And the plant body is thallus. We cannot differentiate which is root and which is leaves or we cannot differentiate the parts of the plant body, as we can differentiate the tree which is present around us. We can easily differentiate the roots, stem, leaves and flowers. But in the Bryophyta, in the Bryophyta members or the species of Bryophyta, we cannot differentiate the plant body. In sense, we cannot differentiate the roots and stem and leaves of the plant body. That's why it is known as thallus, thalloid plant body, and it is green in color. And the reproductive organ of Bryophyta is Archegonia and Antheridia. They produces antherozoites and archegoniosperm or male gamete or female gamete for the sexual reproduction. And no doubt, yes, it also reproduces by means of asexual and vegetative reproduction. So if we talk about the examples of Bryophyta, for example like mosses, sphagnum, so these are all the number of species are there in Bryophyta. So sphagnum and what is that, mosses. These are the species present in the group of Bryophyta, in the group called Bryophyta, which comes under the plant kingdom. And if we talk about the uses of Bryophyta, the Bryophyta members, the species of Bryophyta, it has been used as fuel. The peat moss used as a fuel, and they are the good soil binders which prevent the soil erosion. And next we will move on to the third major group of plant kingdom, that is Pterophyta. The Pterophyta, these, as I told you, as I mentioned, as I specified the Bryophyta as amphibians of plant kingdom, here also it has a special crown of having some special feature. Yes, the Pterophyta, it is known as the first vascular tissue plant, the first vascular plant. What do you mean by vascular? Vascular in sense, vascular tissue is nothing but having xylem and phloem tissues. What is the role of xylem? Xylem is known as, or the tissue function is, it transports the water from roots to the top or to everywhere or to all the parts of the plant body. And like that, the phloem, this is also having a unique character. The phloem transport the food from leaves to all the parts of the plant body. So that's why together we are going to call that as vascular tissues. Those vascular tissues are present in the Pterophyta. And it also known as having a true roots and true stem. It is not like Bryophyta or Algae having only thalloid body. These Pterophyta members, they will be having a true roots, true stem, true leaves. And remember, in the Pterophyta members, you might have seen someone's garden or someone's backyard, the ornamental plant like fern. So the fern comes under the group Pterophyta. It is grows as an ornamental plant, and that is a major use of Pterophyta. The Pterophyta members, and also few examples I would like to give here in the Pterophyta. The Pterophyta member consists of, it includes like Equisitum, and so these are a few the species of Pterophyta. The Pterophyta, one more thing I would like to tell here about the Equisitum. The Equisitum plant, it is commonly known as horse tail because of the presence of strobili at the top of the plant. It is known as that strobili looks like the horse tail. That's why it is known as, the common name for Equisitum is horse tail plant. And next is the Pterophyta, where we can see the members of Pterophyta, where we can see the species of Pterophyta when a heavy shower occurs, a heavy precipitation occurs under the damp places, moist places. The Pterophyta members, usually it grows. We can't see everywhere. The Pterophyta, it is limited to it has limited species, but only under the shady places it grows. And if we talk about the reproduction, is no doubt it reproduces by means of sexual and asexual. Both sexual and asexual type of reproduction takes place in Pterophyta, and it bears or it produces spores The special unique feature of having sporangiophore beneath the soil, what is that? Leaf. Consider this is a leaf. Beneath the leaf you can see a black or brown color spherical structure. Those spherical structure are nothing but the sporangiophore. So they produces number of spores. When those spores sits on the suitable place, they grow one more Pterophyta member. Okay, so if we talk about the uses of Pterophyta, the Pterophyta members or the Pterophyta species used as fuel, and they also considered as a good soil binders, as like Rheophyta. They bind the soil particles so that it can prevent the soil erosion. And next is the fourth one is, if we discuss about the Gymnosperms. Gymnosperms, they grow, they develop under cool regions or in the cool regions of India or in India, wherever the cool places present, in that places we usually find the gymnospermic plant. I would like to mention that one place that if you have visited to botanical garden of Ooty, you can see number of species of gymnosperms. Gymnosperm members, for example, pinus, ginkgo, cycas, cedrus. So these are the number of species of gymnosperms. One unique feature it has. The unique feature is the gymnospermic plants are known as naked ovule plant. Why so? Because the ovule, they are not covered by an ovarian wall. They are exposed to the environment. That's why it is known as naked ovule. So now coming to the reproduction. Gymnospermic plant, they reproduces by means of sexual. If we are talking about the type of what is the feature, because all these groups, they are not flowering plants, they are not bearing any flowers, unlike Angiosperm. Then what is the mode of reproduction? How they reproduces? What are the male and female gametes that it reproduces so that it can increase its population? One structure is there, a specific structure known as strobili. The male and female strobili present at the axial part of the plant body. These male and female strobili, if we take an example of pinus, in the pinus, male and female strobili present in a single plant. But in the cycas comes under the gymnosperm. In the cycas, the male and female strobili, the cones, in simple word it is cone, the cones are present in different plant. So gymnosperms, they have a special feature, a special structure known as strobili. Through that strobili, it produces male, and from the male strobili it produces male spore or male gamete, and from the female strobili it produces female spores or female gametes. Through the pollen germination or through the pollination, the fertilization occurs, and then one more new species of gymnosperm grow. And the next is if we talk about the uses of gymnosperm, the gymnospermic plant, they are used in the varnishes and in the cosmetics and the limber region of gymnospermic part. It is used in the manufacturing of furnitures. So it has a high value. Gymnospermic plant got high value. It has been used in multiple fields. Now, the last group of plant kingdom is Angiosperms. No need of telling a vast description for Angiosperm. You have seen the banana plantation, the apple orchids, the lotus growing underwater or on the surface of water. It blooms the flower, and on the soil surface, on the land, you might have seen number of various color flowers. What are those? Those are nothing but angiospermic plants. Let me tell you, based on the presence of cotyledons, the angiospermic plants classified into monocotyledons and dicotyledons. In the monocotyledonous plant, for example, in monocotyledons, banana, coconut. So these few of them I have mentioned here. These plants have only one cotyledon inside the ovule. That's why it comes under the monocotyledon. Coming to the dicotyledonous plants. The dicotyledonous plants having two cotyledons in the ovule, and not only we have to see the ovule cotyledons inside the ovule. By seeing the extra morphological features, we can differentiate, or we can differ, or we can distinguish which is monocotyledon and which is dicotyledonous plant. My concept is, it has the angiosperm plants are everywhere. It is distributed all around. Some of them grow on the water, or some of them grow on the soil. Some of them grow on other plant, like growing a plant, developing a plant. One plant, if one plant grows on one more plant, suppose consider this is one plant. One more plant is growing from the stem of the plant. That plant, the growing plant, is known as epiphytes. And also few of them comes under parasites. The parasites, usually what we used to think, like if we talk about the plant, what the first thing comes in our mind? Yes, the plants are autotrophs. Autotrophs are nothing but they can prepare their food by using the sunlight, right? But few of the plants are there, they cannot prepare their food. They have depended itself to other nutritions. They used to suck the nutrition and they used to lead their life. So those plants are known as parasites. So angiosperms, it reproduces by means of vegetative and by means of asexual and by means of sexual mode of reproduction. If we talk about the sexual mode of reproduction, unlike gymnosperm, as I told you, it got a unique feature known as strobili. The angiospermic plant, it got a unique feature known as flower. In the flower, it has male androecium and female gynoecium, androecium and gynoecium. The androecium and gynoecium, they are well protected by very fascinating and colorful organ known as petal, and it is protected by one more whorl known as sepal. So together they form a fascinating organ of plant known as flower. The flowers, why the petals are colored in nature? Because of the presence of pigment. That is, if it is your answer, one more answer I would like to give you. The flower it got various colors. Number of plant flowers got me various colors. Why so? Because that is one feature of that plant. Because of having different color, it attracts the insects. When the insects sit on the flower, when it starts sucking the nectar of the flower, the pollen grains get stick onto the foot of the insect. When it fly and sit on the another flower, it carries the pollen grains of the species to one more flower of the same species. So this is how pollination occurs. So this is also an unique technique, a unique way of pollination. So like that, if we start talking about angiosperm, we cannot finish our topic for one day or 2 days. It got a vast concepts. And one more thing to tell, it has like in angiospermic plant. If we talk about the uses of angiosperms, the species of angiosperms used as food and species of angiosperms used as fuel, and species of angiosperms used as fodder for cattle. And the very important term is the species of angiospermic plant. It is used as a medicinal value. A number of species used as a medically important plant. Few of them, if we list the medicinally important plant, I'd like to tell you in a simple way. Like if we see around us, we have number of plants, but without our knowledge, those plants will be having a highly medicinal important the condition it will be having a highly medicinally important part. For example, we have in our garden, usually we used to grow aloe vera. Aloe vera comes under angiosperm. It got a number of importance, like in the treatment of skin related ailments, and in the diabetic patients use the aloe vera. And also the aloe vera, it has been used in the cosmetics. And if we talk about the Tulsi, a religious plant, that Tulsi, it got highly important, it got highly very important plant, considered as important plant. It cures or it treats cough, cold, flu type of diseases. And if we go to the kitchen, we'll get the turmeric and ginger. So turmeric, ginger, these are also extracted from the plant. These ginger or turmeric, they are good in the treating the heart related problems or kidney liver related problems, and ginger is more important to cure cough, cold and digestive related problems. So like this, one more thing to tell, one more plant it is coming to my mind, that is Vinca rosea. The Vinca rosea, it is usually they won't grow the Vinca rosea, but it got a highly medicinal value. If we blend the leaves of the Vinca rosea, if it is provided or if it is given to the diabetic patients regularly, or day before, one day or every alternate day, the diabetic patients, they can reduce or they can have a very good health, or they can produce, they can synthesize, their body can synthesize insulin. So that much important, beneficiary important plant it is. Which one? Vinca rosea. So with this we'll finish it off today's session. In the next session we'll talk about one more new concept. Till that, thank you.